Hi everyone, welcome to our children's talk. So I have got one of the most important items I have with me today, my cell phone. Like I take it with me everywhere because I need it for communication, communicating with my friends, family, my boss, my parents, especially during emergency scenario. Well, let's describe two scenarios with a cell phone and see how you would react. So, the first scenario, imagine if your mom drops you off at a week-long sleepover summer camp and she gives you a cell phone and asks you to call if there is an emergency. But in all your excitement at being at camp, you completely forgot that you left your luggage at the trunk of your mom's car. And after a while, after she drives off, you realize that you don't have your luggage. What would you do? Of course, you would call your mom because it's an emergency situation. And if she doesn't pick immediately, you keep attempting to call and call until she answers and rectifies the situation. Well, let's see our second scenario. Imagine if your dad drives you to a classmate's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, and you're feeling so mature that you don't want your dad to spend the entire birthday with you. And you tells your dad to just drop you off and go. And your dad drops you off, gives you a cell phone, and tells you to call if there is an emergency. Imagine if after your dad has left, you realize you were at the wrong Chuck E. Cheese location. What would you do? Of course, you would call your dad because this is an emergency scenario. And if he doesn't pick up immediately, probably because he is driving, you would attempt to call again and again and again until he finally comes and rectifies the situation. So cell phones are really, really important means of communicating. And the key is to be persistent. So do you know that cell phone is actually like prayer? Because prayers are our means of communicating with God, of talking to God, of describing our situations to God, especially when it is an emergency situation. And the key is to be persistent. And Jesus explains this persistence in prayer in our gospel story today. And he explains this with a parable about a persistent widow. Jesus explains that there was a widow who was treated unfairly. And so she decided to go meet a judge to give her justice. But the first time she asked the judge for justice, he refused to help her. And so she kept asking and asking and asking and asking until the judge said, "This woman is bothering me. And if I don't give her justice, she is just going to keep bothering me until I am worn out." So the judge gave her justice. So Jesus told this parable to remind us to be persistent when we're asking God for something in prayer. And Jesus, as Jesus said, if the judge who was not kind and who doesn't know the woman could give in to her persistence, how much more God, our Heavenly Father, who was kind, who is holy, and who knows everything about us, who knows us very well, even better than our parents. How much more would He answer our prayer when we persistently ask Him? So Jesus wants us to always pray to God in every situations, especially in emergency situations, to call on God to help. And we should keep asking and praying and praying and praying. And God, our Heavenly Father, who loves us, who wants the best for us, and who knows everything about us, would surely hear our prayer. So remember to always use your heavenly cell phone prayer to contact God all the time. Thanks for joining us and God bless you.